Welcome to SuperCoach and welcome to the weekend preview, albeit we've already had 2 games played. So hopefully you saw some of my videos that I've already posted this week prior to this round. Had a little bit of my thoughts on a couple of games that were obviously before we saw the reveal of all the teams, and it's a real awkward one. It's great to have this festival of footy and, so many games in so many days. I mean, that's all well and good, but Jesus, it does make it difficult when you're trying to develop your SuperCoach side. I don't know about you, but I really hate making 2 trades without knowing what else is going to happen. For example, I brought in, Lockhart for, can't even remember who I had to, Collins, that's who I had to do it for. And he was the only one defensively that I knew would be playing. So it sort of had to be him. Wasn't ideal because I didn't think he had too many scoring qualities, and job security could have been anything, but I had to do it because who knows what would have come. And then I wanted to bring in Caleb Daniel for Darcy Moore. Just because I felt Moore didn't have too much more coin to make. He played fairly well today, but so I had to make that move because obviously Moore would have locked himself out after Anzac Day. And so I've made 2 trades without knowing anything else really going to happen. And, there weren't too many surprises. My head hit my palm of the hand when I saw that Bailey Scott was out, because all I wanted was one more price rise. I know it's minimal. I just want another 30K. That's all I wanted. Because I think I'll probably get rid of him for Will Hayes soon, or next week, I should say. Burgess leaves the Suns side. I wouldn't think too many would have him still, and he's not doing a great deal. Scrolling through the teams there wasn't too much. Haitley was out. I thought it was interesting. I think he scored 95, did he? And then obviously no outs as of yet for Carlton or Hawthorn. Scrimshaw's on the extended bench, but I'm sure he'll get picked. He's been really good. And as for the Cats, like I said in my other video, Clark always looked likely to get dropped. It says managed, but he's been dropped. I mean, Geelong, I don't know why they do that. Just say it. It's okay. He's been dropped. He'll be back. It's all good. So all of a sudden, he is going to stop going up in value. So it's a little bit tricky all of a sudden. It's that stage of the season, isn't it? It always gets to that point where some of these rookies that we've either brought in or started with, they leave the side. And all of a sudden it becomes a bit more difficult to see where those range of options are that we're going to downgrade and things like that. But all I can really say at the minute, and most of you probably would have done your couple of trades. Most would have brought in Ross or something like that. So it's tough to give you too much advice, but all I'd say, and it sort of reiterates what I said in my other video, if you want to check that out, it was the players you need to have on your radar, just looking at the top 6 to 8 players on each line, and just basically the guys that we should be looking to upgrade, because I do find it helps, or at least helps me, when you know who you want to bring in. It's not just like, yeah, I'm going to upgrade him soon. It's like, well, to who? It just makes me a little more comfortable to have 3 or 4 players that are monitoring. And if you're serious about trading, you're looking 3 or 4 weeks ahead, roughly speaking. It's a rolling trade plan. You've sort of got your plan of the next 6 to 7, 8 trades over 4 weeks at this stage of the season. I've got my next 4 mapped out. If things sort of change or a score you didn't expect, you alter it. But more or less, you're like, oh, he'll probably score 65, and, Fife will probably score 110 to 120, and they'll roughly end up like this amount, and I need this amount to get them. You can pretty much work out. Obviously, weeks down the track, it's difficult, but all I can advise you to do is that. Do exactly that. Map out who you want, and I discussed some of those players. I think if you don't have Fife, or you traded Fife out, make him a priority next week. Build your weekend of trades around getting him in. If you're not going to have enough money, make sure you do. It's as simple as that. He's going to be a top 6, probably top 3 or 4 midfielder. So he'll drop to around 550, That's not super cheap, but for Fife, I think it's about as good as you could hope for. He had that concussion, had the 60 odd, so let's snap him up. So Constable looks like he's going to come back into the Geelong team. That's great. But I probably think he'll be the man to go for Fife, at least for my team. He'll be priced about probably 300. Again, we're guessing, but about that. So I just implore you to identify the players you want and identify the players that need to leave your side as well. I mean, one of the reasons I upgraded Caleb Daniel, was I felt like the forward line's so weak at the minute. Tough to identify who the top 6 forwards will be. I mean, you've got Dangerfield, Heaney, Tim Kelly. Then it's really difficult from there. So, I think down back, we definitely want to have Sicily led, Whitfield and Lloyd. They're definitely guys. And monitor Cade Simpson. He could be a cheapish pickup if you can find form. Let me just see what his break even is. You would imagine I'm just guessing, you'd imagine it's in the 70s. That's just me sort of plucking it. 79. 79 break even. He's started the season slow, 83, 72, 62. And I think clearly he's been impacted a little bit from Nick Newman. But he's gone 107 and 92. Now, I don't expect him to average 105 like he did last year, but perhaps he can be a really reliable 90-odd. And maybe, okay, he's probably going to slip in at your D4 or something like that, but he's probably a D6 sort of guy, if that makes sense. And I think that's okay. It's not ideal. I mean, it'd be great to get Lloyd straight away, and it'd be great to get McRae, then Fife, and, but you can't always get those exact top guys immediately. You might bring in Simpson and say, well, in my overall team, when I'm done and dusted, he's probably going to slip in at D6. Right now, he's D4, so it looks a little weak, but then I'm going to fill in it in with, Sicily and Lloyd. So all of a sudden, even though you're picking him now and he probably doesn't warrant being a D4, I think at D6, you'd probably take a guy who's averaging 92. I think you'd probably take that, and maybe Simpson can be that. But I think you probably want to just see how he goes against Hawthorn. It's been a funny old round. You get a couple of games and you got to make trades, blind trades, really. You don't really have any idea what's going to happen with the other team selections. It's just fortunate there's been no big names that are unexpectedly out, or you sometimes get those rounds where you go, oh, what? We didn't hear a thing about this and he's out, or a couple of rookies get dropped. You're like, are you serious? So I think we can probably be pleased that there wasn't anything unexpected, and I'm sure, like myself, a lot of you would have made some blind trades. But look, hope the weekend goes well for you. I'm sure a few would have VC'd Grundy, and I'd be taking that. What was it, 134? You've got to take that, surely. For me, I'm going to put the VC on Neil. I think he's proven to be a big game player. I think Miller will probably go to Zorko. So I think he's a pretty good option. So that'll be how I roll. And Setterfield will allow me to provide that little zero, given the Blues play on a Sunday. And Clark as well. You could use it for him too. Cats on Sunday also. So all the best for the weekend. I hope your team gets up, and I hope SuperCoach goes well for you. I'll be back soon. Cheers.